Jagdish ji. Okay, I will start, Dr. Swami.
Yes.
Dr. Swami, today we're going to discuss the UGC. Tejas, are we going to show the new photos?
Yes.
Tejas? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Dr. Swami, today we're going to quickly talk about, before we begin our program, we have a tradition that we want to share freedom fighters that were not normally very well known outside in the country. So this is one is the Subramanya Siva. He's called Tyagi Subramanya Siva. He was born in Tamil Nadu. And we're just going to have a brief. I have 2 slides about him, and then we can go to the program.
Video.
Jagdish is back.
Yes. Okay.
Tyagi Subramania Siva, born on the Tyagi Subram
Go ahead, Tejas.
Tyagi Subramania Siva, born on
Tejas, we can just move on, Tejas. We'll go to the program. Jagdish, you can start, please. Go ahead. Jagdish, you can start. I don't think he's able to hear us. Dr. Swami, I'll start. Okay, hey, Jagdish, you can join. So, Dr. Swami, the University Grants Commission a few weeks ago passed a new set of rules for what they call as equality or equity kind of a rule for colleges in India. Essentially, they're saying that there will be a board, and this is to reduce OBCS, CST atrocities and whatnot. This was not very well received. Because they pretty much said that the general category is by default guilty, and a board will be constituted within these universities, which will predominantly be only by the non-GC people, and essentially it's not going to be a fair one. There was a huge uproar. Lots of students protested across the country, predominantly in the northern states. A huge amount of protest erupted in campuses. The Supreme Court took cognizance of the matter and have stated, saying that this is not, because it says it's very vague and arbitrary, whatever these rules are. This brings to a very crucial question, Dr. Swami, which we would like to get your answers on when you begin and in your thing. What was the need? What was the need for such a rule when we have Indian laws to protect the so-called oppressed classes, be the SC, ST, OBC, other classes, BC, and stuff like that? And what was the urgency to do it right now? So, but before you answer those questions, Dr. Swami, why don't you give us your initial take on this, and then we'll throw it open for discussions. We have Arvind, who's an expert on it, and Jagdish has also heard a lot of people giving him feedback about this, so we can have a discussion afterwards.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Dr. Swami.
Well, first of all, at the very beginning, I would like to say that the Supreme Court has stayed this UGC equity regulations. So, I mean, there's no immediate, problems for us. And this, we got a lot of time to, make a clear statement on behalf of the people, and then see that the Supreme Court, which is handling the matter, deals with it. Now, first of all, the UGC equity regulation, which is challenged for being unfair to general category of students. This is one problem I've seen in India. The general category are always being pushed around. I mean, you see, when you do research, it doesn't matter whether you're from this class or that class. If you're good, you're going to rise in either class, and that's what we have seen in our history. So therefore, I would first of all say that the whole issue of this change that they have brought about, it is not, as a first point I would like to say, it's unfair for the general category of students. And they are equal to any other category of students in our country. As long as they perform in the examination, they will not be distinguished from each other. Second is, on the 29th of January, a division bench of the Chief Justice Surya Kant and Bagchi state the whole matter. So there's no immediate problem of his implementation that is being considered at all, because the Supreme Court has put a stay, and it's going to take a long time because they are going to take the opinion of a lot of people. And so the University Grants Commission, Promotion of Equity in Higher Education Institutions Regulation of 2026, is on a hold. And Mr. Modi, who seems to have organized this, I'm sorry, he has to be has to keep his hold. The regulations were notified on 13th January and has stirred a controversy, of course, of being unfair and by the students who belong to the general category. So this is the first point I want to make. Why is it always the general category seems to get the raw end of the stick? So therefore, I would say that this matter, this what is being stated, we are very grateful, and it should be worked on very thoroughly. There are 10 reasons why university of UGC, as they call it, regulations are malicious and immoral, in my opinion. And the 10 reasons are such that the University Grants Commission, for example, have as they emanate from the left-wing theories. All these young left-wing theories have been assimilated by the University Grants Commission and been imposed on the people. And now the left wing is all finished; it's all evaporated. We are talking about maybe Hindutva, but nobody's talking about it about this fraudulent theory of the economists of these various people who are in the left wing. And so, in what I would say is, therefore, that the UGC is clear in letter now, in spirit, that only SC and ST and OBC, the persons will face discrimination. Caste based discrimination means discrimination only in the basis of caste, of tribe, against the members of the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and other backward classes. So what is left, what is unsaid is our obvious that the upper caste people are always told as the oppressors, and they are never the oppressed, which is not true. These are things that we have to now change. So this whole exercise we are doing today is that don't ruin our education system. Indians are performing very well all over the world. Not to mention doing very well in India too. But in a place where they go without any a prior treating education and all that, they are going there and topping the class there. So on that basis, we today have to have a discussion as to whether the education system should be interfered with by the government of the state or the government of India, or it should be according to its own rules which they make, and the examinations through the universities themselves. Over to you, Ramesh.
Yes, I know, Jagdish, you can start. I mean, I just gave a brief start, and as I asked Dr. Swami the initial questions, what was the need in the first place? Don't we have enough laws to protect these OBCs, SC, STs in Indian law? How is this going to be different, Dr. Swami? Can you hear me?
Who are you asking?
No, yeah, I'm asking you, Dr. Swami. What was the need for these new rules when we have enough rules to protect them or not, Dr. Swami?
There's no harm in having rules, but they should be shut down. I mean, why should you bend? Are you afraid of the Prime Minister or what? And Prime Minister is no angel of education. We know what kind of education he has had. I know it firsthand. And so, therefore, what we have to do is that the educationists should have sufficient backbone to say, no, we are not going to review anything except beyond 5 years, and then that too will be a review, and then thereon the moderations that have to be made will be made. That's the only way where you have to keep the educational system on a even rail of like a railway train going because of the
Tracks.
the tracks. So the same way we should do this in this matter, and not one day here, one day there, and one day some commission and all that. This is not the way education can be treated. And I, having been an educationist, a PhD, a former professor, all that, I can tell you it's very painful to see the kinds of things that are being done by people who are semi-literates and get into offices, high level offices, and impose on us to do all this.
Jagdish, you can come in after that. Arvindji, brief in English, but predominantly.
Yeah. No,
for Hindi.
I would now request.
Good.
Now, before I give my comments, I would request Professor Arvind Chaturvedi, who has been in the educational field, being a student at IIT and also teaching in various institutions, what is his take and the sum total of all these things. हमें खास करके हमारे हिंदी भाषी लोगों के लिए वो इस यूजीसी गाइडलाइंस और उसका फियास्को या उसका जो दूर परिणाम है जनता में, इसके बारे में विस्तारित रूप से हमारे दर्शकों को जानकारी दे. प्रोफेसर अरविंद चतुर्वेदी.
Thank you, Jagdish. Let me first answer Ramesh's question. What was the need? I tell you, there was already a UGC regulations for protection of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, which were being implemented since 2012. Now, after the suicide by an Andhra student in Telangana, the Rohit Bemula, some people went to Supreme Court for the protection of the OBC and scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, and strengthening the protection given by the higher educational institutions. Supreme Court ruled on their PIL that yes, UGC should form a committee, and this committee maybe can form the rule which can be vetted by Parliament. And they were the parliamentary committee. I think the majority of them were BJP members, though they were the all-party committee. They approved the draft. And this draft had many things, but the major objection जो सबसे ज़्यादा उत्तर भारत में जिसकी आपत्ति हुई है वो ये हुआ है कि 2012 का जो रूल था, रेगुलेशन था, they have added OBC in that. And what they are saying is that OBC people are not protected. Through this, they will be protected. And of course, there are many guidelines, like every college, every institution, every university will have to form a committee by committee of members from scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and OBC. They have not mentioned anything about general category or non-protected categories. And therefore, this committee will look into it 24/7. These complaints will be heard and all that. So what the objection is, आपत्ति जो है पूरे उत्तर भारत में अगड़ी जातियों की, फॉरवर्ड जो कास्ट हैं या अपर कास्ट हैं, whatever you call them, general category, is that do you think this law actually portrays that upper castes are oppressors? वो oppression करते हैं और SC, ST, OBC are victimized. That means there is no victimization of upper caste at all in higher education institution. Now मैंने किसी एक पिछले प्रोग्राम में जब हम महाराष्ट्र का एक कानून डिस्कस कर रहे थे डॉक्टर वेंकट अय्यर के साथ, मैंने उदाहरण दिया था. In Kerala University, there is the HOD of Sanskrit, Dr. Vijay Kumari, and Dr. Vijay Kumari was supervising a student in Sanskrit scholar called Vijayan, and she had criticized the thesis. And in reply, in taking a revenge, this scholar went to the court and lodged a complaint against SC/ST Protection Act. And this lady had tough time because this is a non-bailable offense. Tough time even to get a bail, but ultimately Kerala court gave a bail to her. And this is just one example. So oppression is not by the upper caste of the SC/ST OBC only. It could be other way around also. उत्तर भारत में लोग इस SC/ST कानून से ऑलरेडी बहुत ज्यादा परेशान थे, और ये जो नया कानून उत्तर प्रदेश यूजीसी का आया तो वो एक जुड़ गया इसके सामने मामला, और मामला और गंभीर हो गया। पूरे उत्तर भारत में इसको लेकर आंदोलन शुरू हो गया। अब सवाल ये है कि क्या यूजीसी एक्ट किसी भी अपर कास्ट को या जनरल कैटेगरी के ऑपरेशन अगर होगा, अगर विक्टिमाइजेशन होगा तो उसको कैसे रोकेगी? उसका रूल नहीं है। देश में SC/ST कानून है, ST/ST आयोग है, ओबीसी कानून, ओबीसी आयोग कमीशन मोदी जी ने बनाया, विमेन कमीशन है, माइनॉरिटीज कमीशन है, अपर कास्ट के लिए कोई कमीशन नहीं है। जो डॉक्टर स्वामी ने शुरुआत में कही बात, वो सबसे महत्वपूर्ण बात है कि हमारे देश में वोट इतना महत्वपूर्ण बन गया है कि 60% वोट के लिए सभी पार्टी, कोई पार्टी अपोज नहीं कर रही। बीजेपी के कुछ लोगों को छोड़कर, कलराज मिश्रा जो पूर्व गवर्नर और मंत्री हैं, उन्होंने इसका विरोध किया। ब्रजभूषण शरण सिंह जो हमारे उत्तर प्रदेश के सांसद हैं, उन्होंने विरोध किया। कुछ बीजेपी के पदाधिकारियों ने विरोध किया। यहां तक कि मायावती ने भी विरोध किया। मायावती जिनका वोट बैंक शेड्यूल कास्ट, शेड्यूल ट्राइब एक जमाने में था, और जब वो सत्ता में आई तो ब्राह्मण वोट के कारण ही आई, उन्होंने भी कहा है कि ये कानून गलत है। और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो स्टे दिया है, 19 मार्च को अगली सुनवाई होगी अगले महीने, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ये कहा है कि प्रथम दृष्टया दिस रेगुलेशन लुक्स लाइक ए partiality act. It is not only protecting OBC in the name of protection of OBC, but it is going against the upper caste also. Now, naturally, there will be arguments on both the sides, and the 19th March, and in future dates, we'll know what is the result. But what I'm saying is that this government, Modi government, BJP government, not only central government, state government, they have an eye on the vote bank, and for the sake of vote bank, they want to show that they are the protectors. जब उनको ये लगा कि पूरे उत्तर भारत में आंदोलन हो गया है, तो उन्होंने इसको जैसे भी हुआ, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इस पर स्टे लगाया। और जब उनको लग गया कि बीजेपी के लोग इस्तीफा दे रहे हैं, उत्तर प्रदेश में एक PCS ऑफिसर था, अलंकार अग्निहोत्री ने अपने PCS ऑफिसर, who was promoted to IAS rank, he resigned in Bareilly, and after his resignation, the support of the upper caste to him, इससे ये लगा कि अब देश में एक तूफान आने वाला है और सारी अपर कास्ट बीजेपी से अलग होने वाली है। मैं डॉक्टर स्वामी एक मिनट लूंगा बताने के लिए। When I was trained in politics in late 60s, in 1967 and all that, when I learned politics, मैं जनसंघ का मेंबर था, और उस जनसंघ का मेंबर, जनसंघ की जो सपोर्ट होती थी, 2 लोगों की होती थी, ब्राह्मण और बनिया, और सारी शेड्यूल कास्ट, शेड्यूल ट्राइब, माइनॉरिटीज, वो सब कांग्रेस के साथ होती थी। तो बीजेपी, जनसंघ को कहा जाता था कि वो ब्राह्मणों और बनियों की पार्टी है। धीरे धीरे बीजेपी ने ये सोचा कि अगर ब्राह्मणों बनियों के सारे रहेंगे तो हम देश पे कब्जा नहीं कर सकते, किसी भी सरकार में नहीं आ सकते, इसलिए हमें सपोर्ट बढ़ाना पड़ेगा। एक तरफ तो वो कहते हैं कि बटेंगे तो कटेंगे, दैट मीन्स हिंदू शुड यूनाइट irrespective of the caste. On the other hand, they bring legislations which are anti-upper caste, because upper caste is only 10 to 15% all over the country, and these 10 to 15% are, majority of them are supporters of BJP. तो उनको लगता है कि भाई ये कहाँ जाएंगे, ये तो हमारे पास है ही है, जो लोग हमारे पास नहीं है उनको प्रोटेक्ट करो और उनका वोट बैंक लो। मैं आपको एक बात बता रहा हूँ, OTT प्लेटफॉर्म है नेटफ्लिक्स। नेटफ्लिक्स पे अभी एक सीरियल का अनाउंसमेंट हुआ, उसका नाम था घूसखोर पंडित। घूसखोर पंडित, पंडित वाज ए कैरेक्टर, दैट इज अ ब्राह्मण कैरेक्टर। एंड उस टाइटल का प्रमोशन जब शुरू हुआ तो अभी सीरियल शुरू नहीं हुआ था, उसके पूरे उत्तर भारत में आंदोलन शुरू हो गया, पूरे उत्तर भारत में आंदोलन शुरू हो गया, और अभी तक कोई एक्शन उसके ऊपर नहीं हुआ है। एक मध्य प्रदेश की घटना हुई है 3 महीने पहले। एक आईएएस ऑफिसर थे संतोष वर्मा। संतोष वर्मा इज एक्चुअली ए जाटव बाय कास्ट, but he assumes a name of Kurmi. Verma is basically a Kurmi caste, and he gave anti-Brahmin statement. उसने आरक्षण के लेके स्टेटमेंट दिया कि जब तक ब्राह्मण की बेटी मेरे बेटे से शादी नहीं करेगी तब तक आरक्षण चलेगा। और पूरे उत्तर भारत में 3 महीने आंदोलन चला मध्य प्रदेश से लेके, लेकिन आज तक कोई एफआईआर उसके खिलाफ नहीं हुई, संतोष वर्मा के खिलाफ, आईएएस ऑफिसर। दैट मीन्स व्हाट? दैट मीन्स ये सरकार किसी भी प्रकार की जो अपर कास्ट है या जो फॉरवर्ड कास्ट है या जो जनरल कैटेगरी के लोग हैं, उनके खिलाफ कोई भी कुछ भी बोले, चाहे उनको घूसखोर बोले, चाहे उसको बलात्कारी बोले, चाहे उसको कुछ भी बोले, कोई कदम नहीं उठाती, कोई एफआईआर नहीं करती। लेकिन जहां भी ओबीसी का नाम आता है तो ओबीसी की वोट बैंक बनाने के लिए, सो दिस इज एक्चुअली ए वोट बैंक। और ये वोट बैंक ओबीसी का भी शुरू हुआ जनता पार्टी की सरकार में शुरू हुआ 1977 में, जब मोरारजी भाई प्राइम मिनिस्टर थे तो मंडल कमीशन का गठन किया गया। मंडल कमीशन ने अपनी रिपोर्ट दे दी, लेकिन उसको लागू करने वाला भी एक अपर कास्ट का बंदा था, बीपी सिंह। विश्वनाथ प्रताप सिंह राजपूत होते हुए उन्होंने मंडल कमीशन लागू किया, और ये सोच के शायद हम, हालांकि वो सरकार रुक नहीं पाई, 1.5 साल में सरकार चली गई, लेकिन ये मंडल कमीशन का जो भूत लोगों के सिर पर सवार है, ओबीसी वोट बैंक का जो भूत पार्टियों में, इसी कारण से कोई भी पार्टी, कोई भी नेता, कोई भी वरिष्ठ व्यक्ति इस बात का सार्वजनिक रूप से विरोध नहीं करता। उसको लगता है कि अगर हम सार्वजनिक रूप से विरोध करेंगे तो 60% वोट हमारे हाथ से चला जाएगा। अब आवश्यकता यह है, मैं समझता हूं कि जो स्टेट्समैन हैं उनको, डॉक्टर स्वामी जैसे लोग, उनको लीड लेनी चाहिए और उनको कहना चाहिए कि राजनीति एक तरफ, मानवता एक तरफ। राजनीति बनाओ मानवता का जहां सवाल आएगा तो सभी जातियों का एक ही हथियार से निराकरण होगा, सलूशन सबका साथ साथ होगा, कोई पीछे नहीं होगा। आरक्षण बहुत बड़ा मुद्दा है, मैं आरक्षण मुद्दे में अभी नहीं जाना चाहता, क्योंकि जाऊंगा तो और ज्यादा कॉम्प्लिकेशन शुरू हो जाएंगे। लेकिन साथ साथ क्या हुआ, जब ये मुद्दा चल रहा था तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का एक नोटिफिकेशन आ गया कि एमडी के एडमिशन में, पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट मेडिकल सीट्स के लिए -40% कट ऑफ होगा। अब आप सोचिए, -40% कट ऑफ है जिन लोगों का एमडी में एडमिशन होगा, जो डॉक्टर बनेंगे, अस्पतालों में जो इलाज के लिए जाएंगे, वो किस प्रकार के डॉक्टर होंगे। तो ये सब मुद्दे एक साथ इकट्ठे आ गए। नवंबर, दिसंबर 2025 और जनवरी 2026, पिछले 3 महीनों से ये पूरे उत्तर भारत में ये मुद्दे छाए हुए हैं, और ये मुद्दे नेचुरली कहीं न कहीं आरक्षण से मुद्दे से भी टकराव उनका होता है। और ये बात निकल के सामने आ रही है कि जब तक भारतीय जनता पार्टी की जहां जहां सरकारें हैं, ये राजनीति इस प्रकार की होगी तो अपर कास्ट उनके विरोध में जाएगी। शायद यही डर था, और इसी डर के कारण ये स्टे अभी आया है। अब आगे आगे देखिए होता है क्या। जगदीश।
धन्यवाद अरविंद चतुर्वेदी जी। मैं तो एक टिप्पणी करना चाहूंगा। आई वुड लाइक टू मेक अ कमेंट that this agitation which has just happened, and the Supreme Court has given a stay on the UGC guideline, was dividing the, basically it was dividing the Hindu community or the Hindu
Absolutely.
students in various educational institutions.
Absolutely.
And is this what is Modi's philosophy, to divide the Hindus, who has been the backbone of the BJP? Means one way you are talking about Islamic threat, you are talking about minorities coming and doing conversion, but instead of making the Hindu community strong, you are basically dividing the Hindu community, especially the young minds in the educational institutions. You want India to compete with the Western world. Our students are no doubt quite intelligent, and given a chance, they can compete with students in other universities or other parts of the world, and they shine everywhere, have got higher education even in abroad. But here in India, if the general category is made to suffer, it is like, you are supposed to get better marks to become equal. It's something like that. You have to have better marks to compete and be in the general category. And if not, then there can be threats of cases being hosted of that then. If India in this modern world, in the 21st century, we are already 26, and in these times, if merit will not count, then it's a very sorry state of affairs. And if Modi Sarkar is interested in dividing the Hindu community, this is a clear-cut proof. People who talk about saying that Hindu must be get united and all that, here we are doing exactly the opposite. The young mind, the young students, basically from the age group of 18 to say 30, who are doing either their college studies or 12th or thereafter, where university grants commission guidelines will come into play. That means at the college level, and maybe you do your PhD or master's degree. At this age, you are going to make them run to the courts, run to the police station, and where will he concentrate on doing serious study or research work? So I don't know whether the HRD minister or the HRD ministry or who has been looking at it, whether it is Modi's mindset, but this is a serious challenge to the merit of the general category student. I don't think even some of the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe or OBC has really been asking for this. If somebody has been harassed, he could be from the higher caste, he can be from the lower caste, he could be a bright student, he could be a poor student, he could be an urban student, he can be a village boy, rural areas. So there are various categories, but to deprive the general category student, and the onus is on him to prove that the charges made against him are not true.
And this is
And
non-bailable.
the person who's making the charge can go scot-free. Yeah, and not bailable. So I don't know at that formative stage of the student's life, if people have to be fighting these battles. In fact, they should be concentrating not on politics or caste factors, but just to see that they get a better education. There is a lot of population, there is a lot of competition, and in that, if this new hazard comes into the student's life, I think India will be really, really divided. So it is good that the Supreme Court has intervened, and people like Dr. Swami, Virat Hindustan Sangam, and various people who are concerned about the students' future have risen and voiced their opposition to this. And I hope the student community also is going to be united in these tactics being deployed to divide the Hindu society in these institutions. So these are my initial comments I want to make. Rameshji, you will have definitely your point of view. Dr. Swami, you want to add something?
Let Arvind conclude. No problem.
No, Dr. Swami, I'm just reminding to Dr. Swami that when the Brahmin community was discriminated against in Uttar Pradesh in 1993, Dr. Swami led a movement called Brahman Swabhiman Andolan Samiti against Kashiram, Mayawati and Mulayam Singh's Gadjod. And ultimately, Kashiram, of course, did not survive long. He passed away. But Mayawati agreed to this request that unless the common rights given to every caste, she cannot come to the government. So when she adopted Brahmins also, earlier they used to say कि ब्राह्मण ठाकुर बनिया चोर बाकी सब हैं DS4. DS4 is Dalit Social Samaj and all that, which was found by Kashiram earlier. So she had to retract and go back and adopt Brahmins. And the one Brahmin leader was appointed as Rajya Sabha member, some Mishra, and he was a lawyer. And she came back to power with the Brahmin support. And she had more than 50 MLAs from upper caste. Her party, BSP, Bahujan Samaj Party, which was actually formed to protect the scheduled caste. So Dr. Swami has led this movement earlier in 1993. We had millions and millions of supporters. We campaigned all over Uttar Pradesh, and Mayawati was forced to go back. So Dr. Swami can do it again.
Now, I'd like to add one thing, that much of the arguments that we have been having over the last 25 years or 30 years, it doesn't apply to a very large number of people who are in private companies or even in private schools as teachers. So what this whole thing is in a sense of making a fool of the people of India, and particularly young people, by saying reservation, reservation, reservation. But there is a very limited area where they can get the reservation. They have to be told that you should have also the ability to go into where there's no reservation. I mean, you will not get any reservation, but on merit you can rise. It is possible. Ambedkar was a person who never got any, way of rising through the reservations. He came because he was shining. He got a PhD in America, in Columbia University. Then he went to Britain and got a barrister level position and came back, and he never talked about his being a backward class and so on and so forth. He said, I'll work for them, but I will not make an issue of it. So I think we need to give that idea also to the so-called backward class, that not everything is going to be available to you through the backward class or scheduled caste route. So therefore, make sure where you can get benefit, take the benefit, but in the end, learn that you have to work together with the rest of the society.
Yeah, let me just point out, Dr. Swami, in this the regulation, promotion of equity in higher education institution regulation, which has been brought by UGC, they have said private sector, public sector, college, university, medical college, any other higher education institution, they have to have this committee. Even
Yes.
if there are 5 faculty members, if there are less than 5 faculty members, then the college may join another college and have a joint committee.
Yes.
But as long as there are 5 faculty members, now just imagine what kind of college will be there where there are only 5 faculty members or less than 5 faculty members. But even there will be a discrimination. I mean, this is the height of imagination of UGC, that every place in this country, every place of education in this country has discrimination, and discrimination is only against these 3 categories: SC, ST, and OBC. Nobody else can be discriminated against, and the oppressor is only the upper caste. This is the objection. This is the core issue, and that is why there is an agitation on this core issue. And this core issue, as I said, from my analysis, that it is purely from political perspective that BJP is doing it, and no other party can afford to oppose. For example, somebody asked Samajwadi Party about this. Naturally, Samajwadi Party represents the Yadavs. Majority of the support comes from Uttar Pradesh Yadav. So the Ram Gopal Yadav, who is the leader of Samajwadi Party in the Rajya Sabha, said, नहीं ठीक है, बिल्कुल ठीक है, ये कानून ठीक है, आना चाहिए, उनको protection होना चाहिए. Which party can afford? Unless there is a political party purely represented by upper caste, general category, farmers caste, the political parties cannot oppose it, and that is why public is embarrassed, and that is why public is agitated, and that is why these andolans are going on, because there is nobody to speak for them.
Dr. Swami, I think these, in my view, all these distractions are being caused purely but all these things are new law, rules, create chaos among the people, is to distract from our biggest issue that is affecting the country today, which is economy, which is basically jobs, one, and other things that are going around. And this is just to further keep on dividing. At one hand, you say you want, casteless society. At the other hand, every guy who says this is a hypocrite, because he himself wants a caste so that he can get a reservation in something.
Absolutely.
So everybody who says they want a casteless society are basically hypocrites. They just don't want it. They don't want to say truly work towards a casteless society. If casteless society, then they should take your formula and says everything is merit-based. And
Correct.
you've always advocated, Dr. Swami, that any reservation should be based on the economic status, not on social or caste or religious status. None of those things is nonsense. And obviously, anything as I know, Arvindji, you said this, we can't say these kind of, because it just takes it into a different dimension, different chaos. But the issue is very simple. There is, even in America, there is affirmative action. It's based on race to some extent, but it is there. I'm not saying world over it is not. Bring something sensible enough so that if there is an impact of a certain set of people, because in a lot of the cases, people are not able to afford. This government spends nonsensical money on, some 2,000 rupees here and there. Why do you do that? Let's create institutions. We are not grooming students to be leaders of tomorrow or businessmen of tomorrow or, inventors of tomorrow. We just create chaos so that they are just a vote bank. As long as they are treated such way based on divided on caste, this is not going to happen. And thankfully, the Supreme Court stepped in. I just have one comment. The Supreme Court stated, Dr. Swami, 3 days later, the Madhya Pradesh government has the audacity to pass the same rule for Madhya Pradesh based on a 2023 act. I think, the year I might be wrong. They just, we already have an act. We're just enforcing it right now. When the Supreme Court says don't do anything, the Madhya Pradesh government is a pure contempt of court. They said, thumbing their nose to the Supreme Court. They just passed saying that, yes, we will follow this. There is absolutely no sense of law or following the law and order in India. So everybody wants to do today. What chaos can I create so that I can distract? What can I do? That is where sadly the kind, because as you said, the potential is high, Dr. Swami, but it is stopped and curbed.
Good.
You see, it's not only central government, state government. In civil service exam in Uttar Pradesh, OBC, scheduled caste and scheduled tribes were given 6 years exemption. 6 years exemption. But upper caste people were not given exemption. So there was agitation all over Uttar Pradesh. And then they said, all right, 3 years. I mean, how can you discriminate between candidates on their caste background? I mean, if you are giving exemption for age limit exemption for one category, how can you not give it to other category? Is it not discriminatory? So the government itself is discriminatory. Government is, again, it is very clear, I have said, and maybe at the cost of repetition, I would say once again, the governments are doing it only for the sake of vote bank. They know the upper caste will not go anywhere. They will ultimately willy-nilly vote BJP only. Where will they go? And therefore, let us protect the rest. And that is what BJP is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the upper class, you said, has no other go. They can't vote for Congress. They can't vote for any other party. But they're also not expressing their dissent with the nota. I don't know why these people. I mean, and actually, I think you brought a very important. They don't matter. in the large scheme of things, even if 0 people upper class voted for them, BJP will still, because they feel that pandering to the other the reserved class, or whatever we want to call it, is absolutely is they think that they can win based on that. They don't care, and the same the forward. I mean, I'm giving you an example in Tamil Nadu. Everywhere, I think about 60 is the average reservation. In Tamil Nadu,
Yes,
69.
75%.
Yeah, it's 69% in Tamil Nadu, and I'm a victim of that. I scored 94%. I couldn't get the college of my choice, so I had to go to a private college and pay money and get into. I mean, so at what point is this so? Like, there is a joke going around that a Brahmin father or some son comes in and he gets 98% in the exam. I mean, in the finals in 12th standard, and the father asks, where are the remaining 2%? Because otherwise you won't get in. Even though it is a joke, but ironically he says, if you don't have the remaining 2, you're not going to get in. Whereas, and you are saying negative cutoff for medical of all things. I mean, medical, why don't they have the same thing if any other profession, negative cutoff? It is just sad. It is just sad that we have a negative cutoff for medical, which is saving lives. That's where this government is going. They just want to say, I don't care what happens, at heaven or hell, I want to remain in power. It doesn't matter how it remains. Dr. Swami, one very sinister, but I would say more novelistic, conspirational thought. If way too much of chaos is spread in the country, it's easy to declare emergency, Dr. Swami. That's all I can say.
It failed the last time, it'll fail again.
No, it creates civil unrest to an extent that, that will create, and you usurp power completely and totally. So, it is, hopefully the government realizes this, or I would also feel that this government will say, oh, Supreme Court has stopped it, so we can't do anything about it. Or they will bring an ordinance. I think this Modi's government has always had a strategy. Either they kind of punt this ball, they kick this ball, and they see what happens. If no resistance, go ahead, let's make it happen. If there is resistance, the Supreme Court kicks it out. You have 2 options there. They have a flow chart for this. One, so we can't do anything because the Supreme Court has stayed it, and we will review it as and when, and that's not going to happen. Or B, pass an ordinance to some other nonsense. That's it. Matter gets over. It is just, this is how it's been going so far.
Yes. You see, SC Act, Prevention of Atrocities Act, there is no bail provision. Supreme Court struck it down, saying that no, there should be bail, they should be heard. But then Modi government brought ordinance. Finished.
Yeah.
So when you want to take a decision to favor a particular group, I'll not say vote bank again and again, but a particular group is being favored, and the government machinery is being used to protect those groups only, which groups will ultimately vote to that particular party. Rajiv Gandhi also did the same thing in Shah Bano case. He went against Supreme Court and had an ordinance.
There is no consequence, because they can go and contempt. The Supreme Court is not going to say anything, because it has become that way today. Sadly, the days of the very few, I mean, I would say there are maybe a few judges who would stand up, but sadly, the courts today have just become subservient to a large extent, at a lower level. Hopefully, it doesn't happen at the highest level, but pretty much it is. We have seen that across the country. It is just sad.
Courts have not become, but the choice of judges has gone really down, and they are the ones who are, become Ji Hazur type of people.
Few judges.
So we have a ray of hope in Supreme Court. The way Supreme Court has given a stay order on this regulation, I hope that the Supreme Court will strike it down whenever there is a discrimination against a particular group. But overall, I am saying the political party, BJP, for example, I repeated earlier, I am saying it again, on political platform, they say, batenge to katenge. There should be no division, all Hindus are one and they should vote together and all that. All right. But when it comes to policy making, why do you discriminate against a particular class?
Easy. Because because the forward class or GC class are weak. Just keep on hitting on it. Just like Brahmins in Tamil Nadu, which the Dravidian parties keep on hitting on the head, The general category in the north is easy fodder. Just everybody can come and thrash them up. That's what it is.
I think we have
we can
gone
finish this,
into
Arvind.
about
We can complete
46
it.
minutes. I think, Arvind, it's time to wind up.
Yeah, Arvind, you wind up.
Yeah, I think we have taken it just at the
Arvind?
right time. This particular issue has agitated a large number of not only young people but all people, people in the government, people who are government servants. Basically, these kind of regulations divide the population. When they divide the population, there is acrimony in the society, and any acrimonious society cannot lead to development, and therefore it is the duty of the government not to adopt any policy which is discriminatory in nature and which creates disharmony in the society. And this particular UGC regulation, maybe it has come only for the higher educational institutions, but since there are many similar things already in practice, the whole things are combined, and therefore the agitation is multiplied many times, and which can be seen in the displeasure and disharmony in the society and the agitations in especially in Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, and other states wherever there is a discrimination or where there is a sizable general category people. And we hope the government will learn a lesson from these things and will withdraw this legislation. As Ramesh said in the beginning of this program, there are already sufficient rules to take care of any discrimination against any group, whether it is scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, women, minority, or OBC, or any other category. And these rules should be implemented in honesty. And therefore, there is no such rule to bring another regulation in the name of dividing the society. And thank you, Dr. Swami. I gave the example of how you stood against the government policy in 1993 and supported Brahmin Swaभिमान Andolan. And let me also say to your credit that Brahmin Swaभिमान Andolan, though it was supposed to protect the Brahmins, but you had taken non-Brahmins also in the category, those who believed in this. So you had a different kind of structure for the organization, and it is only you who can do it. Thanks, Ramesh Swami, for chipping in when Jagdish was not there to start the program, and you have contributed. In fact, the affirmative action that you mentioned about Uttar Pradesh in America, there has been some people in Trump administration also who have accused Brahmins of acquiring powers. I mean, it's not that only in India Brahmins are discriminated against. In America,
Interestingly, one bunch of useless people started this Dalit nonsense in corporate America, in Cisco, in the court there gave them a solid thrashing and says, "What is this nonsense? There is no such thing caste in this country. Get out." Basically, that they tried to bring the same thing. I said, if you want anything, there is a code, there is a law, there is laws against discrimination and affirmative action. Use that. Don't come and talk about Dalit and all. Don't talk about this nonsense in this country. They kicked him out.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you, Jagdish Shetty ji. Thanks the technical team led by Ashish Shetty, Swaminathan, Tejas Navalgul, Gadgi Rakesh, Ishwar Iyer, Rajesh Nair, and Gurdat Shetty. We will be again taking up the next Sunday another issue with Dr. Subramanian Swami and bring it to our viewers. And as Jagdish said in the beginning, there are 150,000 viewers for the last Sunday's program. I'm sure our viewership after renewing the program in January is again increasing and achieving the greater heights. Viewers, we will be joining you Sunday, 8 p.m. next Sunday with a new program and Dr. Subramanian Swami. Till then, Namaskar, Jai Hind, Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.